Alright, let me set the context for the video. In this video, we're trying to build a tweet tracker. What is happening very often is that some celebrity or influencer is releasing a token or endorsing a token. And as soon as they tweet, in the next 1 to 2 minutes, the chart goes up by a lot. This is what's called market manipulation. So people are doing it, which leads to an opportunity to try to make money. So what we're going to do is build a platform that is going to track a bunch of these Twitter accounts, and whenever someone bull posts or posts about a tweet, we'll try to immediately buy that from a decentralized exchange and maybe sell it in like 2 to 3 minutes, because that's usually how long the wick lasts. So the goal is it's very clear, arbitrage and market manipulation that is happening, but thankfully it's happening in a decentralized way, so everyone including us can participate in it. The video comes with a bunch of disclaimers. Most probably you're going to lose money, so do not try any of this. Maybe build it as a project for someone else. Any token that you see in this video is not an endorsement for a tokens. Please stay away from all influencers I'm going to show in this video, and all coins that I'm showing. Do not trade with any money that you don't afford to lose, or otherwise just stay away from this. This is just a very clear, obvious product to build, which a lot of people are building / need right now. If you saw my last video, the person got like a 2.5 lakh rupee project for someone to build something very similar, a meme coin Telegram bot. So that's why we're building it. Do not buy any of these tokens. Prerequisites, it might be good for you to know a little bit of Node.js. Solana Web3.js is good, optional, but good if you have it. A little bit of knowledge about decentralized exchanges is great. Wallets, private keys, and Twitter API, even if you don't know, that's fine. We'll understand and build it as we go through the video. What you're going to learn by the end of it is going to be how do you interface with decentralized exchanges, how do you buy, sell, do things like these in an automated fashion. I wouldn't consider this close to what an HFT does. HFTs usually trade between centralized exchanges. The challenges there are significantly different from when you're doing it on chain. Like chain transactions are slower and harder, and you have to retry them, versus much easier, not much easier, like much more competitive and much more easier programmatically to do this on a centralized exchange. But when you're doing it on a DEX, there are some challenges you have to keep at the back of your head. Those are the things that you're going to learn. So if you want to build any different kind of market making bot that's market making between a centralized exchange and a decentralized exchange, this would give you all the parts needed for the DEX side. And of course, centralized exchange is a whole different beast, which probably is a title for another video. With that, let's get into it. All right, hi everyone, and welcome to a new video. So a lot of crazy things have been happening in crypto recently. I'm sure some of you saw what Trump did. He released his own meme coin, and by that I mean he literally released his own meme coin. This is not a scam or whatever, you can call it a scam, but Donald J. Trump, the president of the United States, tweeted this out, which a lot of people felt initially was a scam. The tweet says, "My new official Trump meme is here. It's time to celebrate everything we stand for, winning. Join my very special Trump community and get your Trump now." Something you would expect from a scammy influencer, but something that came from him. If you go to the website, it gives you an option to buy with a debit card, buy with crypto, but more importantly, it gives you the contract address for the Trump token. Given this contract address, you can paste it in DEX Screener or a different website and look at the Trump ticker. It's been a few days now, so now it's consolidated to $36, but it started off, of course, at $0. Did some price discovery, went up to $90, and now is consolidating around the $40, $50 mark. So that's a brief of what he did. If you were early on this, by which I mean, if you were following Donald Trump and bought immediately, even if you bought after an hour or two, you would have made significant money, as in a 4, 5, 10, 100x. The biggest bet here was someone put like 1 mil right after the token was released and cashed out 300 mil. There are speculations that's an insider who knew a few things. But still, at least a week ago when this was released on Jan 18th, you could have made significant money if you were tracking this Twitter account and had bots running to buy the token. Even if you did not have bots and you manually did it, you would have made some money. Since then, what has been happening is a lot of these crypto influencers who asked people to buy Trump
have been tweeting about a bunch of other coins. So here is an example. There is this Twitter account called 𝗟𝗶𝗹𝗀𝗀 that just tweeted, when was this, like 12/18, so like 2 hours ago. Okay, I am bullish on this specific token. The founder has this many followers on Instagram, so on and so forth. And if you look at this specific token, as soon as he tweeted, there is a very big green candle over here. And I hope you understand where I'm going with this. If you were following this account and immediately bought, you would have made some sort of a multiplier, and that's almost a given. Of course, this happens in less than a minute. Like after he tweets, in less than a minute, you need to buy and then hopefully sell out quick, because the common pattern that's happening here is whenever the influencer tweets, there's a very big green candle and then it consolidates back to its original levels. Here is another example. There's this guy called Gordon. He said, I want to see Mia break this resistance. Mia is another token. And this is when he tweeted, like, I don't know, 20 minutes ago. And as you can see, there's a green candle over here. So it's not guaranteed, but almost a given. Okay, if you are buying within a minute of these people tweeting and then maybe selling after it 2x's. For example, here it started from 0.2 and went up to 0.44. So there's some probability that it will 2x. Let's see what happened here. It started from 0.08 and went up to 0.13. So did not really 0.08, 0.14 did not really double up. So we'll have to figure out what the math is and where we take profit, where we put the stop loss. But the goal of the video is what? The goal of the video is to follow a bunch of these Twitter accounts, and whenever they tweet, figure out is there a token they're talking about, and if there is one, just buy the token immediately and sell it at some profit, or put some sort of a stop loss. That's what we're building today. A lot of disclaimers this comes with. Do not trade at all or with money you can't afford to lose, because there's a very high probability all of this will go down to zero. And especially meme coins, like buy blue chips if you want, but do not speculate at all with meme coins. If anything, try to build like a lot of these products for companies. If you've seen my recent podcast on 100x, the thing that the user had built, for which he got like $4,000, was a meme coin trading bot only. So there's like a lot of opportunity right now to build for dumb people rather than being the dumb person yourself. So even though the strategy will work or whatever, for some time, do not recommend anyone do this, and keep your head down and build. But it'll teach you a lot. Through this video, you'll understand what are token accounts, what are dexes, what is a popular dex on Solana. We'll have to use a little bit of AI to forward this tweet and get context of what is the token address, what is the user talking about, things like these. So it'll be sort of I think a 2-hour video that should be enough to be able to build something like this. With that, let me take you through the architecture of what we're building. Alrighty, let's get into the architecture of building this. There are two ways to build this. One is the slightly more dumb way, which will still work because of how the market is right now. And one is the way an HFT would do it. Ideally, you want to do this, but this involves you having a validator. I'll talk through a bit of it. Basically, the learning curve / the amount of resources you need to do this is a little bit higher compared to the dumb way. The dumb way is fairly simple. This is the Solana blockchain, which means a bunch of validators that are constantly doing consensus. Whenever you are swapping, whenever you're trying to buy an asset, you hit the Solana blockchain through what's called an RPC server. An RPC is very close to a validator, only you don't need a lot of resources to run an RPC server. You need a lot more resources to run a validator. So definitely won't be able to do this. We might be able to do this. And if you want to understand how RPCs are run or how you can run a validator, you should go through my recent video on 100x Devs, where I've talked to someone called 𝗟𝗶𝗹𝗀𝗀 who runs a validator on Solana. The dumb approach says, of course, we'll have, like, before we get into the dumb and the HFT approach, we should probably first understand the Web 2 parts of this. This is twitter.com. or a bunch of Twitter servers, and this is going to be your call it a polling server or a scraping server. This needs to constantly either poll Twitter and get the latest feed of one of these influencers, or you can also subscribe to it via a WebSocket stream. The only problem is Twitter APIs are highly gated. If you want to subscribe to a real-time stream, you have to pay them $5,000 a month, which is a lot of money. Even if you want to poll them, you need to pay them around $200. Yeah, Elon has really bumped up the API request prices. So basically, either way, you have to spend some money to be able to poll Twitter. There are unofficial ways to do it, which is probably what we'll go with today. Because even if you pay them $200 a month, you can only request 15 requests per 15 minutes, which is very slow. Basically, these trades need to happen, a second after the person has tweeted. So ideally, you need real-time connection to Twitter servers, which is worth $5,000 a month, something not we're doing today. A slightly more unoptimal approach is to subscribe to the $200 a month plan, but then also you can only send 15 requests in 15 minutes. That's one request per minute, and a minute is enough time for you to lose out on the trade. So long story short, we either have to go with the unofficial Twitter API, or we have to find a different way around to, get around this one request a minute limit. If this is the Twitter server, we need a intimation from them as quickly as possible. As soon as someone tweets, buy the XYZ coin, almost immediately we need this to hit our systems, so that we can, build the trade from there and execute it. That's step one. What is step one? Step one is just getting the tweet from Twitter. That's the not harder bit conventionally. It's just Twitter APIs are so heavily rate limited, it's not very easy to get it, in less than a minute or less than a second. It'll take you some time to be able to scrape. So we'll have to figure this out. We were trying to build this yesterday in our office. So that's where we realized, there's no easy way to do this. Last thing we left off at was there was an unofficial API that we can use, or what we'll do is we'll create 30 Twitter accounts. So that way, even if the request limit is 15 requests per second, or 15 requests per minute, if we have 30 Twitter accounts, then the request limit becomes whatever, one request per 2 seconds, if my math is right. So to be able to get around their API limits, we'll have to create a bunch of accounts on Twitter, and only then can we get back an intimation from Twitter every 2 seconds whether or not a tweet has been made. But let's say this is our backend and we receive an intimation someone has tweeted. From there comes the first part of sending this to an LLM. The LLM needs to tell us, is this a bull tweet? And what is the token address? Hopefully the person has, put the token address directly over here in the tweet. That's easy. If I send this to an LLM, the LLM will simply parse this out and return this to me, so I know what token to buy. But if the person has tweeted something like this, where did the other one go? Yeah, if the user has tweeted something like this, then from Twitter we need to hit Lex tools and get the token address from here. They have an API that we can hit, so we'll have to give this token name as an input, and that will return us the token address. So that's 2 steps that we have to go through. So let's assume 𝗥𝗲𝗍𝗲, the person who's tweeting, has written the token address in the tweet itself. So the LLM will quickly be able to tell us, this is the token that we need to buy. Once we have that token address, then comes, how do we buy? Do we buy using the dumb approach, or we buy using the better approach? The dumb approach we will forward a buy request to an RPC on Solana. How do you get an RPC? We'll get to, but basically we will spam the Solana network with a bunch of buy requests, because a lot of people will be buying at the same time. So we'll have to figure out priority fee and tip the validators a little bit to make sure our transaction lands. The reason this is dumb is because you're very far away from the action. As I said, there are 2 ways to do this: the dumb way, and in the dumb way, what will happen is This is the Solana blockchain. There is an RPC in front. This is our backend, and our backend will hit the RPC, which will then forward it to a validator node, which will then forward it to the leader. So there are a bunch of hops we're going through. The RPC may or may not prioritize you, and if your transaction doesn't land, basically you've lost on the trade. So this is, even though it's easy to implement, and in this case it will work because there's no high frequency trading happening on these coins right now. Not a lot of HFTs are trading on chain. All of them are, trading on centralized exchanges. So since we are trading on the Solana blockchain right now, this approach might work, but the better approach is that you have your own RPC. So this is the Solana validators. You have your own RPC, which means you run this node, and on this node itself, you have your backend server running that is receiving the request from Twitter, forwarding it to an LLM, getting the token address, and immediately forwarding it to a node that is able to submit the transaction. So if you're close to the action, that gives you a bunch of benefits. Some of the benefits being you can get the current price, you can get what is the most optimal pool to buy this from. We'll come to what all of this means. But ideally, what biggest farmers or traders are doing right now is running their own validators and front running everyone. Since this is a very big green candle, it wouldn't really matter if you go with the dumb approach as well. You still make money, but the real way to make money over here is running your own validator, or at the very least running your own RPC, so that you can forward the request much faster than other people. Like, it's one thing for you to know, okay, something like this has happened, but it's a different thing to be able to land the transaction as quickly as possible. So like, you can do this manually as well, right? Like, there's nothing stopping me from opening this website as soon as I see the tweet, connecting my wallet over here and quickly swapping Solana for Nia. But the problem there is, okay, if you've ever tried this, it'll take you like 10 clicks to be able to land the transaction. So to avoid that, and also I might not be on my machine, right? I might be somewhere else or sleeping. The script needs to keep on running even when I'm sleeping and do the buy and the sell, which is why even though there are manual ways of doing it, we are going to automate it. But there are two ways of automating it: the dumb approach and the better approach. Let's start with the dumb approach, and then eventually we'll see if we get the time, or I'll talk through the better approach as well. So to recap the architecture of what we're building, number one, this is the Twitter server. We need to make sure the Twitter server is somehow telling our backend server, okay, someone has tweeted, one of these influencers that we'll mark has tweeted. We need to take their tweet and forward it to an LLM. The LLM needs to tell us, is this a bull tweet? Is this person asking us to buy a token? And filter out the token address for us. Given the token address, we need to forward a request to the Solana RPC, which will forward it to the Solana blockchain to buy the token. How do you create a request to buy a token? How do you find what is the current price? That is a whole different ball game. Basically, creating this transaction will involve a bunch of other challenges. Figuring out a market where we can buy this currently, because this might be a token that has just released, so there might not be too many markets that are listing it. There might not be too many liquidity pools, if you've heard of what those are. So figuring out, so there'll be another service here, something like a Jupiter or a Radium, where there is a pool where you can buy these tokens. So we'll have to figure that out here as well, create the transaction, and then finally forward it to the RPC. That is going to be the architecture. Twitter will tell us, hey, there is a person who has tweeted. We'll forward it to the LLM. LLM will tell us this is the token address. We will go to Jupiter or Radium, find if there is a pool, find the best price for buying this right now, and then forward this request to the RPC. This is where we'll be spamming the RPC with a bunch of requests, because there's a high probability a lot of our transactions don't land. So we'll start spamming, by which I mean, some 100 transactions, 20 transactions we'll send at the same time and hope, okay, one of the transactions eventually land, and that is our buy order. Usually the activity only happens here when you're buying. When you're selling, you should be able to sell it without spamming the network. But when you're buying, when someone has just tweeted, there are a lot of bots trying to do what we're doing. And hence, you have to spam the network, you have to get closer to the validator. If you're using the dumb approach, it's a good idea for you to run it, somewhere where a validator is running, let's say in Japan, so that your transaction lands really quickly. That's a high level of the architecture. In terms of the prerequisites, there are no prerequisites, but it might be good for you to know basic coding / scripting. It is also good for you to know a bit about the Solana blockchain. If you know what are liquidity pools, if you've heard of, oopsie daisy, Radium or Meteora or Jupiter might be good. What else? You need to understand what are RPCs, or you're going to learn what are RPCs. Twitter API, which is similar to any other scraping. So this is the Web2 bit here. And that's it. There's nothing too complicated here as we try to build these systems. You'll see, it'll probably be less than 100 lines of code. I don't know. That's my guess. So without any further ado, I think it's time for us to get right into it and and try to code this thing. And as there's a lot of activity happening, there's a high probability by the time this video ends, even though the release is today at 6 p.m. in 3 hours, let's see if someone tweets and we're able to catch the trade. All right. With that, let's get into the coding bit. Alrighty, folks. Getting into the coding bit now. So step one is Twitter API. As I said, Twitter has some APIs. I can show you one that gives you all the tweets of a user. The only problem is it's heavily rate limited. So the way I found it yesterday was went to, where was that? Try a live request. No, that's not the one. API reference. Yeah. This is their API reference page. If you look at posts, you can find post lookup by user ID is what we want. So it's somewhere here. Users. Timelines. That's probably it. Yeah, there you go. Get user post timeline by user ID. So this is the API that you have to hit. /2, that's probably the API version, /users, /ID of the user, /tweets. And you have to pass in an authorization header. The way to get the authorization header is just go to Twitter, just go to developer.x.com. And even without paying, you should be able to create an API, a bearer token. So let's see where that is. API reference, fundamentals, tools, subscribe, try live request. All right, there we go. So developer.x.com/n/portal/projects and apps. When you go over here, it'll probably have a default project for you. Feel free to create a different one. And somewhere here, there's this option to reach keys and tokens, which is what you want to create. So you want to create a bearer token for yourself. I'm not going to regenerate ones, but once you create one over here, copy it over, and you can paste it here as the auth token. Where did the API go? I have to search it again. Oh gosh, oh there we go. So they have to paste it over here. So I copied the token from here when I generated it. The bearer token pasted it over here, and when I send this request, it will return me everything or the posts of that user. So for example, the ID parameter is not correct. Yeah, I need to pass in the user ID over here. So yeah, over here. That means we need to find the user ID of that specific person. So let's say, Gordon is the person that we want to follow. How do you find their user IDs? I don't know, there's probably a better way to do it, but the way I did it was I clicked on message over here. And when you try to message someone, it gives you, both of these IDs. I think one of this is me and one of this is him. This is their ID. I'm sure there's an API that returns the same thing. But let me just assume the user ID that I got there was correct and try to send it now. Now, if I send it, as you can see, I'm already rate limited because I can only send one request every 15 minutes. So that's a problem. This is great. I was trying this yesterday as well, and this is the same request over here. I have my auth header here, and in the body, not even in the body. There's no body that I need to send. This is the user ID of that person, 13544. When I click on send, it returns me all the tweets of that specific user. At 𝗥𝗲𝗵𝗹𝗀𝗀 just send this to my wife. Oh, that's the first tweet/reply that this person has. And if you look at Gordon over here and his tweets, this is probably a reply. But this tweet, if you see, homie had 3 SOL left. That's the same tweet he made over here. Looks good to me, $regent, and that tweet should be somewhere here. Everything else that you see here are replies. I'm sure there's a way to filter out replies, even though it might be a good idea for you to look at replies as well, or quotes as well. For example, here he's telling everyone to buy the regent token. So, God, these guys are weird. So that's how you get the tweets of a user. There are a bunch of problems here. First problem is, you can only send one request every X seconds. If I try to send the same request again, I'll get rate limited. So Twitter is heavily rate limited. Even if I buy the $200 plan, it'll still be one request per minute, which isn't great. So what's the way around this? The first way is have 40 keys, 50 keys ready, so you can keep cycling between the keys and sending requests. That way you don't get rate limited. Number 2, buy the $200 subscription. Number 3 is use the Twitter. I mean, there's another way to look at, find the network requests as you scroll. I'm sure there's a request. There you go, user tweets. This is a GraphQL request where I can send some payload, and in response I get all the tweets of the user in this timeline v2 object. Content, item content, social content, tweet result, views, and source. Somewhere here should be the tweet as well. Yeah, there you go, full text. I gave you 1000x on the first day of the year. So another thing you can do is copy or bring over this request and figure out the very GraphQL inputs that are going, and try to change them. The problem there is, again, this isn't legal. You can't use this as a scraper. But when and you also your Twitter account might get banned. So that's the problem with using this approach. You try to reverse engineer their APIs and try to figure out what happens as you scroll through a post and try to hit that API again and again. That's the second approach. The third approach is the unofficial API, which I think starts a browser. I could be wrong. So Twitter unofficial API. This is one, Twitter API or TWTTR API, which is on Rapid API, which is great. Let's see. Get tweet, replies, user tweets. That's what we want. And let's try to copy this curl request. That looks easy enough. So Twitter API.p.rapidapi.com/user tweets !username equal to Elon Musk. Let me replace them with this guy. Send. And it says you're not subscribed to this API. So this is a paid API. API overview. Basic $0 a month will give you 50 notification, 50 a month. Let's start the free plan and go from there. Log in with Google. I'm unsure how Rapid API does this. Is it constantly indexing Twitter? I don't know. We'll see. 𝗥𝗲𝗳𝗲𝗿𝗶𝗹𝗀. Oh God, learning, submit. All right, let's start things with the free plan, which still expects me to give a credit card. That's not great. Yeah, let me put this off screen here and quickly try to pay. All right, I've made the payment. And now I think this Rapid API key has been added to my curl request. Now if I try to import this in Postman, I hope the request goes out. I don't want to send DM. I want to get the user's tweets. So this is the API I'm going to select. I see the Rapid API key over here. So import. Replace Elon Musk with our guy. And there we go. Oh, the response is, oh, seems like they are using some level of GraphQL. Looking at this. Yeah. God, it'll be sort of hard to parse this out, but there we go. That's the first tweet of this person. And then, as we keep going, we can parse out the other tweets. It'll just be a lot of text that we don't need. But that's fine. Results, timeline responses, timeline instructions, timeline pin entry. That's probably the pinned tweet. Timeline add entries, entries, and then this is the first one. This is the second one. Content tweet results. There you go. That's the second tweet that this person made, third tweet. So I'm pretty sure these guys are using the Twitter GraphQL API under the hood. Doesn't really matter for us as long as they're not rate limiting us, which seems like they're not. If I send the request again, yep, I'm able to get back the response. So great. I think this is a decent API for us to use while we're polling. What is the problem with this API? The only problem with this API is that this the response is fairly convoluted, so we'll have to filter it out, but that shouldn't be too difficult. So the most difficult bit is done. Honestly, it's pretty simple. I thought we'd have to spend a lot of time here, but in the worst case, we can subscribe to their plan and increase our limits. But for now, this is good. I think we can get into writing the code and get the tweet for the person, forward to the LLM. Yeah, pretty simple stuff from here. Let's get into the coding bit next. All right, folks, let's get into coding it. As I said, this shouldn't be too many lines of code. So let's quickly write some pseudo code of what we have to build, then we'll build all the functions one after the other. Bot app soul cd bot app soul and open it in Visual Studio Code. npm init-y to initialize an empty package.json, npx tsc-init to initialize an empty tsconfig.json. Install TypeScript before that, maybe use pnpm. So pnpm install TypeScript, followed by npx tsc-init. Then go to tsconfig and change the root dir to be /source and the out dir to be /dist. Create a source/index.ts file where we'll be writing all of our code. Effectively, we need to have a main function that needs to do a few things. Number one, first of all, main needs to keep on polling every 5 seconds, let's say. There are better ways to do this, but let me just put an interval. Let's not put an interval. Let's just call it once for now. And then we'll see how we can spawn the process every 10 seconds. Here we have to do a few things. We have to const new tweets equal to await get tweets and the user ID of the person that we want to scrape. So let's say there's a user ID here. Or even better, let's create an array of user IDs. Maybe, I don't know. Let's just start with one person that we want to scrape or one tweet that we want to scrape. Once we get the new tweets of this user, we need to forward them to the LLM. So const LLM response equal to await, or rarely will it happen that the person tweeted twice and we got 2 new tweets at the same time, but still, for tweet in of new tweets, await check const token equal to, or token address equal to await get token from LLM, which will take the tweet dot description or something, tweet array. Let's make a tweet look something like this. It'll have a description string and an ID string. I think that's good enough. Description is, whatever is written, or the type contents is probably a better name for it. Contents of the tweet and the ID of the tweet. So this will be tweet.contents. If
the token address that is returned from the LLM, which means there is a token in there, is when we have to await create swap instruction and await, or maybe broadcast the transaction really bad. So const transaction equal to this thing, and for 0 I less than threshold, or I don't know, spam count, send transaction, the transaction that we've created. That is good enough to buy, and then we have to write a lot of logic to sell as well. But right now what we've done is we've created an async function called main, which will first call this get tweets function. So let me create a bunch of files here. Export function get tweets. This will take a user ID as input, and its job is to get all the new tweets that have happened in the last 5 minutes. I think that's fair. Any tweet that has happened in the last 5 minutes, or maybe 2 minutes, probably a minute, considering we'll be running it every minute, is what this guy needs to get. So here is where we have to write what we wrote in Postman before. So I can just export this request as an Axios request from Postman. I can add Axios as a dependency, and I can import Axios at the top of the file. Cool. Now that we get the response, we need to parse out the response, which looks fairly ugly. This is what the response looks like. And we need to get all the tweets that have happened in the last, let's say, 2 minutes. Const, there's no point reading a tweet that's more than a minute late or 2 minutes late. Tweet underscore max underscore time equal to, let's say, 60 milliseconds. So if it's more than that, then just ignore it. So here we'll first have to get all the tweets and then filter them out. Only the tweets that have come in the last 1 minute is what we're interested in. So I'm sure I can change the, well, let's see if the Twitter API docs, whatever we were using, rapid API, does it let us specify as inputs params, Elon Musk? Yeah, it does not. So that's fine. Also, this can just be username and not user ID. Name, and here we'll be replacing it with username. And in get tweets also, let's take username as an input and not the user ID. Cool. This guy needs to return all the tweets that are relevant. So it will return a tweet array. This is the request that we're sending. I should probably get this from an environment variable. Let's create a top level .env file where I export this environment variable. Let's also create a top level .env example file so other people can look at what kind of secrets they have to put. Cool. The get tweets function returns a tweet array. So here we can just throw an error. We can't, or we can just return an empty array, I guess. But here is where we have to parse out the tweets and get the latest tweets. So here I would have loved if AI was here, or I'm just probably just going to use Claude to filter out this response, because this is a very big response. I'll have to spend a lot of time figuring out, getting the right keys. I can still do it manually, it's for sure data.userResults.results dot timeline response. So I can also do this. Const tweets equal to response dot data dot, let's put this on the right, put this on the right, and then maybe VS Code on the left.
and try to figure out how do you get the tweets. So, well, all right, we can't do that. So let's make this full screen, make Postman full screen. Data.userResults.result.timeline response, or data.user.result.timeline underscore response dot timeline dot instructions dot that's an array which has the tweet. So timeline dot instructions pin entry. We don't need this. We don't need this. We need this. Timeline add entries. So instructions dot timeline response equal to filter x dot underscore type name equal to timeline add entries. So that gives us this array. This dot entries is the array of tweets. So const I have a meeting in 4 minutes tweets equal to timeline response dot entries dot map x to content will be x dot content dot, so x dot content dot more content, x dot content dot tweet result dot result dot core dot user result dot description, user result dot description. That should hopefully be it. This should give us the tweets which we return to the end user. We should give this I mean, feel free, I don't know, this like Twitter API will change a lot, so you know this, there's some merit to giving it a better type here, but even this is fine. What I'm doing is I'm sending the same request and trying to parse out this very big response object into some more digestible things that we can work around. One more thing we probably need here is the timestamp, because we're only interested in the last 1 minute. So let's see if we can get that. There you go, created at in the same line, I think, not result. So content is this thing, ID and created at. These are the 3 things we need. Let's see where ID is. Dot created at it is right there, so it can just be created underscore at here. But for the ID, I might have to spend some time here. ID underscore str, which level is this at? Entries, yeah, same level, I think. Yeah, so ID would be ID underscore str. There we go. So that's how you should get the tweets. I have a meeting in 1 minute. Let's see if it works. Let me go to index.ts. Let me comment out everything below it. And let's see. That's called main with that altcoin Gordon ID. Let's try to log this and then we go from there. Console.log, new tweets. I'm sure I've missed something. I can't get this right the first time, but we'll see. Let's add a build script and a run script really quickly. build script will do tsc-b. Start script would do node dist/index.js, and dev script would do npm run build followed by npm run start. Let's try to run the dev script, and of course it gives an error. Let's quickly try to see where the error is. Promise of tweet array export async function, and access.request should be awaited, so const response equal to await this thing, and everything else should look like this. There we go. All the type errors have gone away. Let's try to build it one more time. X has an explicitly any type, so let's make it implicitly any. Sorry, implicitly any type. Let's make it explicitly any. Let's try that one more time. And it says can't find dist/index.js, even though I do see it here. What folder am I running this on? Looks like the right folder. Oh, index.ts is named incorrectly. There is a space in front of it. Let me remove that. Let me try that one more time. And now this time, invalid API key is what it says. Oh, I haven't added .env. I'm 1 minute late to my meeting. So pnpm add .env require .env.config. Let's try that one more time. And this time, yeah, I've not parsed the response correctly, which is easily fixable. I will take a small break, attend my meeting, and back in a while. All right, where we left off was that the response isn't being parsed correctly. Entries.map is not a function. So timeline response, let's get there. Get tweets.ts. So this is what timeline response looks like. Dot entries is not. So let's log timeline response. Let's try it one more time. And timeline response looks fine. Oh, of 0 dot entries hai. So response of 0 dot entries. Let's try it now. x.content.content.tweet results. I think it'll be tweet underscore results. Let's check it in Postman as well. Oh, it is tweet results. Content dot tweet result है. result ही लिखा भाई. Dot con. Oh, 2 बार content क्यों है भाई? I think it's a content. Oh, entries is an array, and which has one content of type name. Yeah, this is where AI would have been super helpful. Timeline add entry. So the first entry has content that looks like this. The second entry has content that looks like this. So yeah, we only need one content here. Let's try it now. Tweet result dot result content dot okay, this is complicated now, reading through its schema. 1 second. Hello. All right. Oh, where were we? ट्वीट रिजल्ट डॉट. हाँ, तो वही है भाई. मतलब इसका रिस्पॉन्स थोड़ा अजीब है, अब समझना पड़ेगा इसे. इंस्ट्रक्शंस हैज़ 3 आइटम्स ओनली. ऊपर वाला पिन ट्वीट है वगैरह वगैरह है. वी डोंट वरी अबाउट दैट. एंट्रीज डॉट ईच एंट्री इज व्हाट? इट हैज़ अ कंटेंट, एंड देन
that has another content inside. So every entry does have two contents. One second. Entries. Every entry has one content which has another content which has the thing, right? So I guess what we had was right. Why was this failing, or where was this failing? Content.content.tweet result is what's failing. So content.content.tweet result, that looks right. Maybe it's failing on one item. Maybe it's not. The schema isn't the same for everything, even though it looks the same. So let's do this. Let's just log this here. Console.log json.stringify entries of 0 dot content, and then let's also log dot content. It looks fine. Content looks fine. Then tweet result is giving us a problem. So let's do one more thing. Let's log dot tweet result. It is true for few rows, not true for a few rows. I'm assuming some of these posts are, I don't know, a retweet where tweet result isn't a thing. So what we can do is put this inside a try catch or something. So yeah, let's do this. Const tweets equal to empty array, and let's over here put this inside a try catch. Tweets dot push this thing. Content doesn't exist on tweet. Is it content or contents? It is contents. So let's do that. And let's also add created at here. Created at, which is a string. Let's see if that fixes it. Oh, one thing I didn't miss anything. All right, everything's undefined. All right. Content.content.tweet results dot result. Content.content.tweet result dot result dot core dot user result dot result dot description. So that looks right. God fucking damn it. Console dot log. Let's see what that gives us. That looks fine. Dot. What did we log? Dot result. So we logged this, which has a bunch of things. It has dot legacy dot description. That makes sense. Right, that looks good. We've been able to log or get all the tweets of this person. Only problem is some of these tweets might be very old. So let's filter those out as well. What is our tweet max threshold? It's 60 seconds. So what do we have to do? Tweets dot filter x dot created at new date dot get time is less than date dot now is greater than date dot now minus threshold, or what is it called, tweet max time ms. That looks right. Let me increase this to 1 hour for now. So that's 1 minute. That's 1 hour. Yeah. So let's see if can I get back the tweets only for the last 1 hour when I do this. I got an empty tweet. So let's do 24 hours. That will be 1 day. Nothing. I think I'm missing another 1000 here, because शायद microsecond में होता है, millisecond में नहीं. Still very empty. Then the logic is incorrect. New date executed get time जब ये tweet हुआ है is greater than the current date minus this thing. Now that looks right. There's nothing wrong there. Filter, this thing is greater than this thing. So let's log this. The 0th tweet dot created at dot get time, and let's see what that returns. That returns this number. And what is the current time? Console dot log date dot now. That is very far. Why is that? Like 1611. What was created at? Console.log. It would just be easier if there was a epoch timestamp somewhere here. Wednesday 27th Jan. Today is what, the 2021? That looks wrong. This was a tweet from a few days ago. This is something else. This is, I don't know, the user created time or something. This is not the tweet create time. So let's keep on going and see if we can find a different timestamp. I can't. This tweet was definitely created today, and today isn't 27th Jan 2021. So the timestamp here looks incorrect. Unless I'm missing something obvious. Edit control, edit tweet. This looks like a timestamp. Okay, until when is this thing editable? This looks right. Dot legacy dot created underscore at. Okay. So let's do that. So it will be result dot legacy dot created underscore at. Yeah, that looks right. Result dot legacy dot. That's exactly what we have. Oh no, what result dot legacy. Hold on. Result dot core में गए, हम एक लेवल पीछे जाना है. Result dot legacy dot created at. Let's try that. And there we go. Alright, let's decrease the timestamp to be just 1 hour pehle. Let's see if we can get just their tweet for the last 1 hour. Created at 23rd Jan 7 UTC. I don't know if that's 1 hour. Oh, that's too many thousands here, I think. Alright, let's try that one more time. 24 Jan 11:57, 12:30. That looks right. Yeah, that's 1 hour. Is it though? 12:30 UTC is plus 5:30. That's 6. ये 6 बजे tweet होता, 6:11 बजे है. Very good. This was tweeted at 5:30, and this was tweeted at 5:07 and 6. Yeah, makes sense. I think it's right. I could be wrong. But this looks right to me. So we have the tweets for the last 1 hour. We can decrease this eventually to, a minute, because that's what we really care about. So let's do that. Or for now, let's keep it an hour so we have something to try, or maybe 30 minutes, whatever gets us one tweet. 30-minute also gets us 3 tweets, or no, only 2 tweets. That's great. Cool. Okay, we get all the tweets, and for every tweet we need to now, so that part is done, right? You get how you can get the tweets for the last 1 hour, 1 minute from a user and put them in this new tweets variable. If you're confused, just go through the implementation of get tweets. It's very ugly because of the schema of what the API returns us. But given we have that, now we need to write the core of the logic to hit the LLM, figure out if there's a token here, and do the swap. So that's the more interesting, tricky bit here. Let's focus on that next. Let's comment this. Let's just try to implement the get token from LLM callback. So let me create another file here, get token from LLM.ts, export async function get token from LLM, which will take some contents as an input and needs to hit the LLM get back if this is a tweet that is about a token or not, and if it is about a token, it should return a token address to us. So now we go through OpenAI docs. Let me do that in the next section of the video. So next up, we're going to go and implement this get token from LLM function. Very simple implementation based on what API you're using. Let's get into that next. All right, let's see what LLM we are using. I have Claude and OpenAI credits. I think API.OpenAI, OpenAI dashboard. I think I have some credits either in Claude or OpenAI. Oh, that was simple. Let me just copy this first. Where did it go? It was a very nice code. Yeah, there we go. Let me just first bring this to the code base. Role user writer 𝗥𝗲𝗬𝗀𝗀. Yeah, I think I can give a system prompt here, but yeah, I should give a system prompt here because the tweet can just, inject inside the LLM response. So how do you give a system prompt? Oh, pnpm add OpenAI. And meanwhile, let me create an API doc for myself. Sorry, an API key for myself. Dashboard, API keys, generate one. I'm going to call it soulbot. Create secret key. I will of course hide this or delete this by the time the video comes. Let me copy it. Let me put it in my .env file, OpenAI key equal to this thing. And let me do the same thing in .env.example. Next up, let's go back to this file and let's see, can I add a system prompt? How do you add a system prompt here? Create body messages model audio frequency function call system. I guess I have to give it in messages only. So role system, there we go. Content, you are an AI agent that needs to tell me if this tweet is about a Solana token. Return me either the address of the Solana token or return me null if you can't find a Solana token address in this tweet. That looks good. And here I can give the contents of the tweet as such. That should be it. I don't think I need to do anything else. This prevents prompt injection. Like no one can tweet something random that goes to my OpenAI. Whatever they tweet goes as the user prompt, and the system prompt is you're supposed to parse this out and return me either the token ID or null. So let's test this function out really quickly. Return completion dot. I also don't know what it returns. So let's go back to the original page which had the API docs really quickly. Yeah, it doesn't know, or it doesn't return the response. So let's quickly log it. Completion, and I'm assuming I need to pass in some secret in here. API key process.env. OpenAI key. Let's try that. Let's just independently test this function and make sure it works as expected. So I'll in index.ts, let me comment a few things and simply call, what is the function called? It was called get token from LLM. So get token. Did I not export the function? I did. Get token from LLM. I should call it get. Oh yeah, token is fine. It's just a little confusing. And I'm going to pass in the contents of the tweet, which let's copy one of his tweet where he was bull posting with the address of the, there you go. Just open a 250k short on wine, expecting magnets were a huge profit to wake up and start selling. Let's see. All right. When did you tweet, sir? 6:13, it's 6:18. Small break, guys. Sorry, folks. I wasn't recording for the last 10 minutes. I'll take you through what I did in the last 10 minutes. Let me comment this. I pretty much fixed the implementation of get token from LLM. So this get token from LLM function, I changed the system prompt a bit because there could be short signals as well. So I added this line, only return the token address if it is a bull post. If it is a bear post, then we don't want to buy the token. And this is returning us the right things. It returns us either null in this content, or we fall back to null, or it returns us the token address. Let me quickly show you that in action. Was the function called get token from LLMs, and if I pass it a bull post like this and try to log it, const response equal to await this thing, then you will notice that the token address gets logged over here. But if I make it a bearish post, if I say I am bearish on Frick, short it or something like that, then it returns null. That way we know, okay, we're not buying tokens that people are asking us to short. All right. Cool. So the get token from LLM function is done. So right now we have a function that gives us the tweets for the last 1 minute of a user. Then it asks the LLM, is it a relevant tweet? Is this a token buy signal that this user is telling us? And then if that is indeed true, this is a tweet about that, is when we validate tokens. So yeah, I haven't written these functions. I wrote the function signatures for them. You don't really need this. Effectively, you have to build the swap function now. The swap function, which will take a token address as an input, what token you're trying to buy and the amount that you want to buy it with, how much SOL you want to spend. For example, I've set this to 1 SOL right now. Lamports per SOL, for those of you who know, is, it's the smallest unit in Solana. Just like you have paise as the unit in Indian rupees, like you can give someone 20 paise or 50 paise. I don't know if you've done that. Similarly, in Solana, you can give someone 0.00001 SOL, which is equivalent to like 100 Lamports. So Lamports is the smallest unit. Whenever you want to send Solana to someone, what you're actually selling them, you're not sending them 1 SOL, you're sending them 10⁻⁹ Lamports. So that is what this amount over here is. And we've written the function signature of a swap function that we need to now implement here. That takes a token address as an input, an amount as an input, and does the swap. This is where I'll introduce a bunch of things like Radium, Meteora, Jupiter, and we understand what these are, what a DEX is, how can you do an on-chain swap for these meme coins, because these meme coins aren't really listed on Binance or WazirX or whatever, CoinDCX. So you can't really go there and swap, buy or short. To do all of this, we do this on-chain, and hence we need to implement the swap function over here. Cool. So let's get into implementing the swap function, which will actually try to do the swap, spam the blockchain with a bunch of transactions, and let's see if we're able to land one of these. All right, let's get into that in the next section. All right, implementing the swap function. let me give you a quick 101 of how you can swap tokens on Solana, especially meme coins. If you have a wallet like this one, right? For example, I have Backpack over here. MetaMask is not the best example. I don't have Phantom open. None of my wallets are working. I don't know what happened yesterday. Let me see if it works here. Yeah, if you have a wallet like this, for example, which has $24 for me, what you can do is you can swap this token for a different token. This is Solana, and there are something called liquidity pools, which is the easiest way to, not easiest, probably the only way to, like there are other ways, but this is the most efficient way to swap one token for another. What do I want to do? I want to swap, how do I close this? Seems like I can't. Oh, there we go. I want to swap Sol for, you know, whatever random token address that this person tweeted about, right? So what was the token address that this person tweeted about? It was this one right here. So let's copy the token address, paste it over here, and as you can see, I can see the frick token, and I can whatever connect my wallet, Phantom, and buy, let's say 0.05 Sol worth of frick token by clicking on swap here. So if I would have done the same thing over here right when he tweeted, I would have made some money if I exited at some point, of course. Whenever these candles happen, they also go down eventually. So all I had to do was this, but I don't really have a UI. So thankfully, these guys have APIs that will build the transaction for you. Then all you have to do is forward the transaction to the blockchain. So there are a few things I have to do. Number one, I have to create a wallet like this, but locally. So what I can do is I can export the private key of this wallet and import it in my Node.js code base. That's the first thing I can do. And once that is done, I can hit the Radium APIs or the Jupiter APIs or the Meteora APIs and try to swap from my Solana to this specific token. So I'm hoping this is straightforward. Like, it's very similar to a Web 2 system, just like we're scraping Twitter through APIs. We're scraping Radium through APIs. The only thing is you can't hit Radium and it can't send your transaction. When you hit Radium, what happens is you ask it to build a transaction for you. Okay, hey, this is me, this is my wallet address, and I want to swap 0.1 Solana for this random meme coin, and it will build a transaction object for you, which is basically a bunch of bytes. And then again, your Node.js process, that's what's on the left here, needs to forward this to the Solana blockchain. So because you have to sign this transaction first. So I will have my private key over here. This private key is, you know, what governs my funds. I will show you my private key in this video. So whoever is the first person can pull out $10 from it. You're welcome. Given my Node.js backend, I will hit Radium, ask it to build a transaction for me. It will build a transaction. I will sign the transaction using my private key and then forward the signed transaction over to the Solana blockchain. The most difficult bit, or the most, time consuming bit, is this one, because Solana blockchain will be very clogged, especially for these accounts where everyone is swapping to get in their transaction. So we'll be spamming this transaction again and again, so that hoping one of them lands, and that's the system we have to build. We can replace Radium with a different DEX or a DEX aggregator like Jupiter, but most of these meme coins are getting listed on Radium first. So, if a tweet comes immediately after it's listed, Radium might be the best choice, or Jupiter. Both of them have APIs, either is fine. Okay? So let's see if Radium has APIs. I know they do because we taught this in the cohort. Radium APIs. Let me open it. And I just want a simple swap API. Trading balances, order types, trading fees, archive, and ready support. All right, there we go. Creating a pool, burning, just search for swap. There you go. Swapping at the top. So which one of these do you want? Oh God, token listing, trade APIs, get quote. So we don't really worry about quote in case of meme coin. Quotes will anyways not mean much, because quote का मतलब है कि अभी कितने पे खरीद सकते हो, but that's just God knows what, that will change very quickly as a lot of people are buying, so there's no point hitting this endpoint. Actually, we might have to hit it because we'll set slippage based on the quote. Okay, so what happens in case of these token, any token, right? If you look at any DEX, the one that I was showing you, there's this thing called the slippage. So if you click on this settings over here, it says something called swap slippage tolerance. Whenever you are sending a transaction to swap, you have to give two things. You have to give, I want to swap 0.1 Solana, but you also have to give, I want to swap it for at least 10,000 of, 𝗏 tokens. You have to give this second argument, because the thing is, yeah, it's a very long thing, but you might have heard of MEV or sandwich attacks. What happens in case of a blockchain is, if you just tell it कि यार 0.1 SOL ले लो, जितने फ़िरा token देने दे दो. If you tell it कि these are 0.1 SOL, give me as much as I can get, you might get squeezed and get zero. You might have heard of horror stories where people had very high slippage and put in $1 million, only got back $5 worth of Ethereum. So for that reason, we first have to get the current price, the current quote from Radium. So we have to send 2 requests, not 1. Before that, there are 3 things we have to send. I want to convert 0.1 SOL. I want to get back at least 10,000 or 100,000 𝗏, and I have a 5% slippage tolerance. This means that even if I get 10% less 𝗏, I'm fine with that, because this is the current price. When you look at this UI, this number that you see here isn't necessarily what you will get. You might get less than this. You might also get more than this, but the price of Frick might change by the time you click on the swap button and sign the transaction. So in blockchains, the first thing you do whenever you want to convert, let's say I want to convert 0.09 SOL, you get back a quote. यार अभी price क्या चल रहा है? 1741. It's changing, but at that specific second, this was the price based on which I could get back 1741 tokens. So when you select swap, or when you click on swap, you're telling it, I want to receive at least this much Frick token. This is the current price. I have 5% or 0.1% or 0.2% slippage tolerance. मुझे at least इतने दे देना. This is the current price. अगर इससे कम, if the price moves by a lot, or if I'm getting sandwiched by a bad actor, then I don't want इससे कम. इतना मिल रहा है, fine. If it's less than this, I don't want it. So whenever you are on the blockchain, on any token, let's open one of these tokens on DEX screener. This was our token, right? FRIC token. Even if I go here and I click on buy, you will notice that it has how much do you want to swap and what is your slippage tolerance. How much slippage can you accept given the current price. So here also, if it says you will receive minimum of these many Frick tokens, you might receive more, but your slippage tolerance is clearly stating that current price पे I might get 1900, but I want 1900 मिल जाए या उससे 5% कम मिल जाए, उससे कम नहीं होना चाहिए. I should get back at least 1853. So that is why the first request that's going out is what is the current price, and then the second request that you can send is based on the current price, I'm okay with 5% slippage or 10% slippage, and then put my transaction in. So in Jupyter, I will first have to hit this get quote parameter or get quote endpoint, and once I get back the quote is when I will send the transaction to actually swap. So if you look at it, they have blocks over here, thankfully, and they have an SDK that we can use, which is even better. So let me add their SDK to my code base. Let me import all the things they expect us to import here, which are the transaction object that comes from Solana/web3.js, native mint account, or argument that comes from pnpm add Solana/SPL token. If you've gone through the Web3 cohort, hopefully all of this is fairly straightforward. Connection owner and fetch account data from /config. So we have to create these. Const connection equal to new connection. This is this connection object is you telling where is the RPC server, where should I send the transaction. If you remember, I said after you're done with all of this, you forward this to an RPC server, which forwards it to the Solana blockchain or the leader of this current block. So this connection object represents your connection with your RPC. How do you get an RPC? What is an RPC URL? We'll come to. But that is what this connection object over here means. And it expects an argument, which is your RPC URL. So there are many ways to get RPCs, and this is the thing you optimize for. If your RPC is very fast, like you can go to something like 𝗟𝗶𝗻𝗀𝗀 or Helios, get an RPC URL, and if your RPC is extremely fast, if you've paid them a premium for faster transactions, your transaction will land faster. So here is where you decide, or pay a lot of money, either bring up your own RPC or pay someone money to get you a dedicated RPC that's really fast so that your transaction lands as soon as possible. So one way to get an RPC URL, a free one, is by going to 𝗟𝗶𝗻𝗀𝗀, creating a new app. I already have a bunch of apps, so let me just open one old app that I had. Creating an app is nothing, it's just creating, for every script that you might create, every wallet that you might create, every DEX that you might create, you will create a separate app, and in the networks section over here, you can copy the Solana RPC URL and paste it over here. So that is what this connection object represents. So I'm not importing it from /config, I'm creating it over here. Owner is most probably the owner private key. So const owner equal to new key pair, and यहाँ पे I can paste the private key of my wallet. So this is the wallet that I have, which has $24 in it. Let me create a new one called Sol class, which is currently empty. Let me export its private key. So I can go to settings, search for private key, and export it. Now, if you guys can see this private key, you guys can pretty much, have access to my funds. I don't have anything in there, so feel free to. And the problem is you can't really paste the private key like this over here, so we have to convert the string into a bunch of bytes. So Solana key pair object from string or base 58 string. There's a gist for it, like fairly common that everyone uses. Yeah, that's it. I think there's a simpler implementation. There you go. Yeah. Since this is a base 58 encoded string, we have to add the BS58 library, which we can import BS58 from BS58, and now I can create a function that, given this secret key, creates the key pair object. So ये जो owner object है can be built like this. process.env.private key, which is what I will put in my .env file, because again this is a secret, should not directly reside here. Even the RPC URL above should ideally be a secret, but it's fine. Copy paste, and in my .env.example, let me add private key as well. Cool. Process.env.private key. And what is the other thing they expected us to bring from /config? Fetch token accounts data. I don't think we need that. We already have the token account or the token address here. So I think we don't need this third function. We'll see. Lastly, API URLs which come from @Radium's. This is their SDK that we'll use to create the swap transaction and the quotes transaction. Where was their code? There we go. We have the owner, we have the connection object, and there we go. This is how we can get a quote for the current token. So to axios.get, make this function async. Swap compute probably comes from the SDK. It's a type. There we go. API URLs.swap host /compute /swap basin input mint equal to the token address, and output mint. I want to convert, sorry, this will be the native Sol address or native mint, and output mint will be the token address. Mint basically means, think of it like the address of the token. More technically, it's called a mint. Mint का मतलब है जहाँ से you can mint more tokens and create more tokens of that specific token, like increase the supply of that specific token. Like the government can print more money, so that machine that's printing money is called the mint. Similarly here, the mint address is an address that can mint more tokens or create more tokens. amount is the amount that we got over here, and slippage BPS is, let's hard code slippage over here, const slippage equal to let's say 10. Like 10% is decent for a meme coin, and transaction version can be let's see what they're using. So there's this concept of versioned transactions in Solana, and initially there was no versions. Now there are versions V0, V1, V2, like that. I'm unsure. Do I have to put a number here or a string? So I'm just leaving it as 0 here. We'll see if that needs to change. And let's log this swap response. Axios.get this thing, console.log data or swap response. Cool. Yeah, we don't even need a quote hit. We don't need to hit the Radium pool for a quote. We can simply hit it for the first thing I was showing here. I'm telling it I want to convert 0.1 of my token to this much with 10% slippage. It is returning me a transaction. That is what it will return to me over here. And then this is what I need to forward through the RPC. So here I'll probably have to decode this transaction and actually forward it to the RPC. So let's see how they've done it. Serialize. Why is that a post? Get quote and define swap type. Give me a second here. Why do you need the swap response? Swap transaction. So we are hitting it for a quote then. Yeah. So the first request that's going out here is hitting it for a quote with the slippage, and the second one is asking for the swap transaction. So what is happening is the original thing that I was talking about a while back. के पहले we will hit Radium for a quote request. के given this token that I want to convert with 5% slippage, can you tell me the current price that I can get, or the best price that I can get? That is what Radium will return me. Then I will tell Radium I am good with it. Please create a transaction for me. It will return the transaction to me, this thing, which is what I will sign with my private key and forward to the blockchain. Okay? So what have I done over here? I've hit Radium for to get back not a swap response. A better name for this is like a quote response. I'm sure there's a way to do it in a single transaction as well, but we're short on time here, so I'm going to proceed with the second request that uses, I would assume, swap response somewhere. Yeah, there you go. Cool. Let me copy this. What this guy does is Axios.post. Wait, what is data here? Let's get rid of this. I mean, it's a good idea to specify compute units, but I don't know if their code base is incorrect or I'm just running really fast here, which is why I can't tell. Hold on. Data as swap transactions. Nope. Data.default.h. This is the type. So this doesn't come here. Neither does this. You have no idea where this data comes from in their docs. Serialize. Yeah, totally unsure. I'm commenting this for now. We can come back to it. Transaction version. Again, they've assumed transaction version here. I don't know if it's a string or a number. but let's just say 0. And wallet is this thing. Warp soul is false. Sorry, it's true, because the input is a soul, output is not a soul. Input account is input soul, yes, so it will be undefined. Output account is output soul, no. Is output soul? No. So this will be output account token.base58. So that's output token account. Again, I don't know if this is the mint or if this is the associated token account for the user. Neither have they. I can't say this is the best guide. Let's see if we find a better trade API. Oh, there you go. V0 for version transaction and legacy otherwise. So it's not 0, it has to be V0. Same will be true over here. Transaction equal to V0. Let's see, what is input token account? String default to ATA. It is the ATA. Okay, it is not required, and it does default to the associated token account. I'm hoping for the same user, which would mean we don't need either of these, but we will see. And then the only thing that's left is compute. Like, this is something we'll anyways have to hyper optimize eventually. So let's leave it commented for now. Okay, that looks good. And let's log the swap transactions. And let's see what it returns. Hopefully it returns us a transaction that we can eventually serialize and, log. So let's comment everything. Let's replace token address with the address of the token one of these guys wanted us to buy. That's this one. And SOL amount was, let's make it 0.01 SOL. Let me also put some Solana in this wallet address. It's currently empty. So let me go back to my account, send half of the Solana I have over here to the SOL class address 0.021. All right. I've sent 0.01 SOL to the private key that you guys can see. There we go. And let me swap for 0.001 SOL then, because I don't have enough balance. Cool. Let's see what the swap transaction returns us. I'm not touching the blockchain yet. I haven't used this connection object until now. So I'm just hitting Radium for now and trying to get prices. I'm not yet sending a transaction on the blockchain. Swap compute doesn't exist here. Where do they get the type from? Let's see. Let me try one more thing. Import type from. Nope, that doesn't exist. Okay, I am going to default this to any for now, which means I don't need it. Yeah, that's good. One thing is it ever being called? It is. Let's try that one more time. It does require the compute unit price micro lampports. Data.data.default.h. You can type it manually using Radium's priority fee API to set an automatic amount with. But where does data come from? I'm still confused. I'm assuming it comes here. Like swap response is what they mean. Nope. Let's just try it. Let's just hit one of their APIs. So swap hosts. What is one of their hosts? Do they have? Hold on. Setting priority fee. Ah, there you go. That's how you get the priority fee. Cool. Should probably not be done here. This transaction needs to be really fast, so we shouldn't be sending this, but chalo, theek hai, we will. Base host / priority fee route will give us the data, which will have, let's call it very high, so that we're spending high is fine, I guess. So that way, this basically represents how much priority how much do you want to pay the miners, how much you're willing to, spend for this transaction to go through, which should be a lot for such transactions. If you're spending 10 SOL to 50 SOL, it's fine if you have to pay 0.1 SOL to the miner to get the transaction in. Let's try it now. Okay, there we go. We do get back a transaction object, and it is version 1. So from here, all we have to do is deserialize the transaction and sign it. So is V0 transaction is again something. Let's see, what do we pass in again? Use V0 for version transaction and legacy for legacy transaction. Ours is a version transaction. So if not else this thing, so for transaction of all transactions, where does all transactions comes from? Okay, they're here. So this is where you're serializing the transaction. Again, where does TX come from? These guys have either skipped a few things or I'm dumb. Swap transactions dot TX. Nope, dot data dot transaction. Oh, there you go. Swap transactions dot data dot map. Is that an array, or was that an array? It was indeed an array. Data is an array, so I think that they're fine. I'm just dumb. Let's get all the transaction buffers from what it returned us. It is a version transaction. Let me just set this as a variable here. We will deserialize this as a version transaction, and then the rest of the code, which is pretty much what you see on screen. We don't need this. Ours is a version transaction, but let's just keep it. For every transaction over here, we're increasing the index for some reason. I don't know why. Just to log, I guess. And this is the thing we need to do again and again. This is deserializing the transaction, signing the transaction using the private key. Transaction ID equal to send transaction skip pre-flight true. So this is where we're sending the transaction, which is something we need to like broadcast very heavily. Transaction बार-बार भेजते रहनी है हमें बहुत सारी यहाँ पे. And here we are checking if whether or not this transaction has confirmed. If it has, we log this on the screen. Cool. Simple enough. Hold on, I think there's a closing if statement here. Wait, I don't get it. If else, yeah, there should be a closing else statement. I mean, let's just assume it's a version transaction, and let's just get rid of the if statement here. Cool. Close the for loop. All transactions, swap transactions. I don't know what that is. All transactions dot length transactions swap transactions. Fine. Cool. So let me explain a lot of things that I've written. This is a very big file that we've created. All of this comes from their docs. So which under the hood are just hitting a few API endpoints. The first one is to get the current priority fee. Okay, given the current blockchain and this specific liquidity pool, what should you set as the priority fee? Priority fee क्या होती है कि how much extra do you want to pay to land this transaction? So it gives you a few things, very high, high, and M. These are the three numbers it returns you. Okay, do you want to aggressively make sure this transaction lands? Then choose very high. If you want to okay, then select high. If you don't really care, then medium is fine. The smaller the number, the less SOL you'll pay as gas. Then we get the swap response, or more technically the court response. We can also hit this endpoint and see what response it returns us. But mota it will be the current price and what is the best amount of token that you can get from the other side. And then this one to actually get the swapped transaction. I repeat, this one to get the swapped transaction. Given that swap transaction, we iterate over all the transactions that we got back. We just got one, if you remember the terminal, or if you saw the terminal. And for that transaction, we deserialized it into this versioned transaction object. This was the only thing that was present in Solana for a while, and then eventually there was this concept of versioned transactions as transactions became more mature. So now there is V0, V1, V2. But back then there was just a single transaction object, which was called the legacy transaction object. This happened around 2 years ago. And then what we're doing is for every transaction, which as I said, we only have one transaction. So this iteration will just run once. We will sign the transaction. using our private key, which you already saw. The owner object was created over here from my private key that comes from the env file. So I'm simply going to sign the transaction here, send the transaction to the Solana blockchain on my RPC. So here you can see we have used the connection object because this is the first time we're actually sending something to the blockchain. Isse pehle, we're just interacting with the Radium SDKs, which means we're hitting Radium backend servers. We're not hitting the blockchain. This is where we hit the blockchain, and finally, confirm transaction will actually wait for the transaction to confirm. This will actually send the transaction. This is what we should spam and send like 10 to 20 times just to make sure the transaction goes through. Cool. Yeah, that's a good start. Let's see if the swap is happening. I think I have enough Sol to buy this specific token. So currently, if you look at my wallet, it only has Solana. Let's run this once and see if my Solana gets swapped for the whatever token that was. And I got rate limited already, which is very surprising considering this is my own RPC. 429 status code means you're rate limited. That is very surprising. Let's put a log before send transaction, console.log before sending transaction. And let's see if the control is at least reaching here. Yeah, it is. And then the RPC is rate limiting us. Let's put an after. Yeah, I'm not able to send the transaction to my RPC. So let me replace this RPC URL with a different one. Let's select, this is ETH, this is Polygon. I'll have to delete a few of these. I don't think I can. Yeah, let me delete one of these apps. How do I delete it? Come on. God. How do you delete an app in Alchemy? Oh, there you go. Settings, delete. There we go. Perfect. So that's one. Now let me create another app for Solana. Let me select Solana as the chain over here. Create application. This should give me a fresh RPC URL, which hopefully is enough to send this transaction again. So let me replace the RPC URL. Let me restart or resend the transaction. I doubt my connection object is getting updated here. I have a strong feeling that I'm not sending this to the right RPC. Thankfully, RPC URLs are available for free on the internet, so I'm sure Dex Screener has one. So let's just use theirs. Inspect, network, refresh. Wait, what happened to why did it actually? Oh, it did. The guy was right. It did go down. Fucking A, good for him. So let's see. Mainnet, nope. Solana, nope. Theirs isn't public. Let's go to backpack, inspect, network tab, refresh. Nothing is happening. I need a working RPC URL. Where can I find one? All right, Helios it is. I'm going to go to a different service called Helios, and let's see if they give me a Solana address. Sorry, an RPC address that I can work with right now. RPC, view endpoints, copy, replace. Let's try that one more time. Again, a photo. Now I have a very strong feeling that I'm not sending things to the right place. Yeah, I can't think of any reason this would happen other than 4 to 9. Why would a simple send transaction give us a 4 to 9? Is this correct? It takes endpoint as an input. That is what we've given. Either they're not happy because of the transaction I'm sending, or I'm missing something very obvious. Why would it already happen? Send transaction address if true. Let's send a simpler transaction, maybe const tx equal to tx2 equal to new transaction dot add system program dot transfer to a different public key. Let's say back to the original address. The amount is, let's 0.001 into lamports per soul. Transfer params from pub key to pub key and lamports. All right. To pub key is this one, from pub key is owner dot public key. All right. What I'm doing is I'm replacing our transaction, their transaction with a different one, just to see कि simple transactions भी जा रही हैं कि वो भी नहीं जा रही. And if they are not going either, then that's a problem. Connection. वो भी नहीं जा रही. Either the Solana blockchain is clogged as like really heavily clogged right now, which I doubt, or the biggest probability of what I'm doing is the connection object for some reason is not pointing to the right RPC. So can I quickly do a console.log connection.rpc endpoint and let's see what that is. No, that looks right as well. Yeah, I have no idea what's happening. Am I connected to a VPN? I'm not. Maybe, just maybe. No, that's not it. I've sent a simpler transaction also. Let me comment all of this, even though the control never reaches here. Send transaction is returning a 4 to 9. Why? Okay, let's try another RPC. We're going to go with quick node now. Would be very surprising if this works now. All right, now we're going to use quick node and see if they can give us an RPC endpoint. Because if they can't either, then we are screwed, like 100%. Create an endpoint. That's really slow. try logging in from a different one. Here, I think okay, Solana, continue. RPC, copy. Let's try another Helios RPC. Pretty sure this won't work either. Hey, it did work this time. Alrighty, that was good. Very, very weird that one. I mean, I guess this is a premium account, that's why. This may or may not be a premium Helios account. Basically, that might be why my transaction is landing now. One transaction sending. This is the transaction ID. Let's see. Let's go to Sol Scan. Let's try to see the transaction if we can find one over here. And indeed, I was able to swap this much Sol for this much Frick. And if I look at my wallet address now, I have 0.0037 Solana and 16 Frick tokens. Where is it? The RPC was killing us. Cool. Let me take you through the whole code one more time. Like a few jargon that you should know if you want to build it yourself is versioned transactions. Then there is RPC URLs. Then there is RPCs. Then there is what is a quote, what is slippage, what is a swap, and then one more thing that might be good for you to know is I guess that's it. RPC is interaction. There's something else that might be good for you to know. Oh, compute limits. So one more thing that might be good for you to know is compute limits. All right. So given you have some background in these, maybe another one is going to be, whatever, a DEX. You should, you can copy paste code, but it might be good for you to, know all of these. I was able to debug a little faster because, I would understand, this might be wrong, this might be wrong, this might be wrong. So might be good for you to go through all of these. What I've done is I've set slippage to be 10%, which is a little too much, but okay. Because when the token is going up by a lot, it's fine if you buy it 10% expensive. It might go up by a lot, but 10% is too much. Maybe 5 is good. I get the current compute limits, and I get the swap response or slippage response. How much can I buy this token right now? Then I send another request to Radium to give me a swap transaction. Okay, given the swap response that I got a while back, I want to execute the swap response now. I'm fine with it. The quote works for me. Please execute the swap response. Give me the transaction for it, that I can execute it. So this returns us a bunch of transactions that we then have to send to the blockchain. Here onwards, we have written the logic to actually send transactions to the blockchain, serialize, deserialize a transaction, get all the transactions and deserialize them here. We only had one transaction, as you saw. And then for all of these transactions, we sign the transaction using our private key. We send the transaction to the blockchain. This is what we should spam, keep sending the transaction again and again, like 100 times. And then this is where we check, okay, is this transaction valid or not? Has this transaction succeeded or not? So the only thing I would change is write logic here to spam the transaction. Don't send it once, send it like 100 times to different RPCs to make sure one of them lands. Since the signature is the same, you won't double spend, or what you can do is you can have some sort of a limit on your wallet if you want to actually create multiple transactions and send them. And one of them, all of them will start to fail after the first one because you won't have enough balance. So these are like multiple ways to spam the blockchain and quickly try to get your order in. And that's it. Let's try to run the whole thing now. I don't want to tweet from my own account. I'll try to tweet from a random account, and then we'll see does it work or not. Validate. Let's not worry about validate token. There we go. Cool. So I'm going to, oh god, I'll create a random Twitter account. I will put a random coin in there, and then let's see does the swap happen or not. All right. Let me fill the wallet up. I don't think it has enough Sol right now. So let me again send some Sol over. to the last address here. Do I not have enough SOL in here? What? All right, there we go. Let me also swap back so I get more SOL in my account. Phantom folks have a lot of bugs. All right, let me swap this back to Solana. As you remember, I spent 0.0001 SOL and I don't know. Seems like I lost a lot of money. I spent 0.001 SOL. I guess the slippage was really high. But I'm only getting back, much lesser. So I did lose a lot of money here. It's a very small transaction. We should probably check and verify if our implementation is correct. Maybe the slippage is too high. Yeah, that looks like a lot of... How much did I swap again? Let's see. I swapped 0.001 and I got back 0.001. So I think we're good. All right, I missed a 0 there. Cool. So this is what... Could have sworn I had $2.5 when I started. Yeah, I'm just confused. But let me convert the 𝗶𝗶 that I have over to SOL. And then let me empty this wallet and send all the SOL to my other wallet. All right. Now all this Solana I'm going to send to the last wallet that I have. This is SOL class. All right. Now my last wallet has a bunch of Solana. Unable to spend. I guess I spent too much. That's fine. This has 0.003 Solana. So I have to make sure I don't... Yeah, 0.001 should most probably land. So now the question really is who tweets about it? And I can't because if I tweet, maybe people pick up and then I'm screwed. So let's create a fresh Twitter account and let's tweet about a random token from there. Maybe, a very low volatility token. And let's see if we're able to buy it or not. So do I have a random Twitter account? And the answer is no. But can I create one? The answer is yes. So let's create a fresh token account. Sorry, not token account. A fresh Twitter account really quickly. Add an existing account. I'm actually adding a new account, but let's see. Sign in with Google. Let's select a random. Sure, let's go with that one. That's a little too old. That's fine. All right, I've created a fresh Twitter account. How do I get the ID of this user? Select a random person, try to message him, go back. I'm assuming this is my ID. I could be wrong. Let me tweet hi, and let me go back to Visual Studio Code, change the username to be this person. Oh, I just need the username. So, oh, sorry, I forgot. I only need the username, so it's this one right here. Cool. Let's see if we're able to get the tweets of this user. Console.log, new tweets. There we go. npm run dev, and come on. Oh, there we go. I got empty contents, even though I tweeted hi. Interesting. Guys, let's buy, I don't know, any random token. I guess Frick is fine. Guys, let's buy this post and let's rerun the script, and hopefully the contents are empty for both of them. Why? Oh god, I don't know. Like, it got back the 2 tweets, but for some reason its contents are empty. So let's go to Postman and see what's up. Username is testbot Chrome. Send the request, get back a response. Yeah, for some reason. Yeah, there you go. Full underscore text. Legacy.full_test. What did I have in there? Legacy.description or full_text. All right, let's try that. Now I get back nothing again. Full text comes where? Another legacy. Tweet results dot results dot legacy dot full text. Tweet results dot results dot legacy dot full text. Let's try that. And still nothing. Dot tweet result dot result dot legacy dot full underscore test. Gonna tweet result dot legacy. That looks fine. What's the problem here? Okay, let's start with this one maybe. Okay, there we go. That looks fine. Now I got both the tweets. So now let's try to run the whole thing. Given both the tweets, let's see if any one of the tweets are actually executed. So let's just log console.log. Trying to execute tweet dot contents. So let's see, does that work? Trying to execute tweet, guys, let's buy something, and then it eventually fails. Map swap transactions dot data returns undefined. Returns undefined. Probably missing something. Some input here is incorrect. Let's see. Oh, it did happen this time. After sending transaction, it did try to send a transaction. This is the transaction signature. One transaction confirmed. Let's see if the swap happened. And indeed a swap. Wait for it. Did not happen. Hold on. Transaction ID is this. Let's go to Soul Scan. Failed. Custom program error. The transaction landed, but it failed. Could fail for multiple reasons. Slippage got like it was above slippage. Let's see, there might be something here. Insufficient lamp ports. All right. So the problem is that I don't have enough Solana in here. So let me put some Solana in the Soul class. Wallet. There we go. All right, now I have $24 worth of Solana in the Soul class wallet. They have a reproducible bug, by the way. If you change wallet, it breaks for some reason. Let's see. Did not come. Send Solana to Soul class, maximum of it. Try to send this transaction. There we go. And now if I go here, I have $24 in here, $25. Now let's try to do the same thing. Trying to execute, sending a transaction. Wait for it, wait for it. I'm sure the swap will happen this time. That's my wallet. Transaction confirmed. It most probably has happened. Let's see. Yeah, there we go. I have some frick. I did not buy many, but like I can change the amount. So let me change this amount to 0.1 or 0.01. Yeah, I can still buy 0.01. So let's try that one more time. failed this time. We need to add some retry logic to make sure if it fails for whatever reason, we try it one more time. Wait, the LLM also did not respond this time. The LLM did not think this was or I got rate limited at the LLM. Something is happening. I'm probably getting rate limited in the swap transactions. Hold on. Swap transactions. What are you returning? It's returning this. Success false. Required output mint error. Wallet this thing. So true, unwrap soul false. Require output mint error. So output mint this probably expects my ATA. Yeah, I'll share what this is, but let me go to the old transaction, this one right here. Let me view this on SoulScan. Since I already have some frick, I will need to give the ATA over here. There we go. Amongst the many addresses that I have, one of them, most probably this, is my associated token account. Yup, I don't know, most probably. So let's try that again. Yeah, it worked this time. So God, one thing you have to do is, well, let me just add it. Get associated token address const ATA equal to await get associated token address. Mint is the token address and owner is owner dot public key. Does it require anything else? Nope, that's good. New public key. And this will be ATA dot. That's good enough. All right, let's try it one more time with some change that I've made, which doesn't have hard-coded credentials. Invalid public key input. Dot. Wait, what does it return? It does return a public key. Dot to base 58. Alright, there we go. I've done it one more time now. All of these transactions seem to be working. So let me go back here to SoulScan and try to get this transaction. And seems like the swap has not happened again. Custom failed error. What is the error? Insufficient lamp ports again. How much did I spend? Oh, I bought a bunch of... Well, I still have enough lamp ports. What am I missing? How much did I make the amount? 0.01. How much do I have? I guess I only have 0. I have less than 0.01, so that won't work. 0.0001 it is. Let's try it one more time. Alright, a few tweets have happened after sending transaction, and I think it'll work this time. Transaction confirmed. So if I go back here, now the frick that I have is what? Not 190, but if I open it again, I have still have 190. Open it again, I have still have 190. Let's see. SoulScan. Paste it. This time I would assume the transaction has succeeded. Yeah. So I got another 16 frick tokens and I spent 0.01 Solana. Unsure if that's already added. Probably is added here. Let's see. Amongst the there you go. 46 frick. This is 16 frick. Let me just go to my wallet address and see how much frick I have here. 190. 51 seconds ago. I guess that is it. I did. Okay, let's do it one more time. I have 190 frick over here. Let's run. And all right, that looks decent. Did it go up? Still at 190, but if I open it one more time, this time it's at 206. So, you know, I'm able to buy. Cool. Great. So I guess that's great. Let's try it one more time with a fresh tweet. So let me decrease the time from 30 minutes to 1 minute. I'm only interested in the tweets in the last 1 minute. And as you can see, I have none right now. So let me tweet from my fake account. Let's choose a different token this time. Let's go to Dex Screener and see. Yeah, let's see if it works for other tokens as well or not. So I've already bought Frick. Let's see Vine. Oh, the shot indeed was correct. The guy was right. Fucking beautiful. That guy's a genius. He shot it over here. ठीक है. So let me go back. Copy this. Let me tweet about it. Let's try to buy this Vine token now. So I'm going to go to Twitter and tweet about it. Guys, let's go to the moon. All right, I'm going to post this. I'm going to run this. And if you look at it, do we get back a tweet? We do get back a tweet. But the LLM doesn't think it is a valid tweet, and I know why that is. Guys, let's buy this token. It's going to do great. I think I added a slash in right after, so it wasn't able to parse out the Solana address. All right, let's try it one more time. The LLM is not giving us a valid address. Why? The LLM. Okay, I have to change my prompt now. Get token for LLM. Token, return me. Very visit tweet. All right. If this doesn't work, I'll move on to a different type of LLM or different model. I don't know. Okay, there you go. I changed the prompt a bit. This time it felt like this is a token. But I got back a route not found. So there you go. Yeah, fuck. Yeah, this is going to be another challenge. So the thing is, the output mint may not exist. I don't have any of this token right now. So the first time I'm doing it, I don't have to pass in an output mint. The second time I do it, I have to do it. I'll share a little bit more about what this is, but the tweet has expired. So let me retweet it. Post. Let me redo a npm run dev. Do it again. Wait, was I not able to tweet? I was not able to tweet. Let's do this. All right. Post. I was able to post. Let me start the script. Got back the tweet. Trying to execute the tweet. And again, I got an error. No route not found. All right. Does Radium not have... I doubt that is true. Radium doesn't have this token listed, but you know, you never know. No, indeed it doesn't. So seems like this specific token isn't listed on Radium. It's probably listed on Jupe. USDC to this. Oh, this token address is incorrect only. Where did I get it? I got it over at Dex Screener. What the hell? That's some weird shit right there. Oh god, that's crazy, bro. I'll have to remove this from the video. Vine token. So that looks right. 58 something something. Oh, I get it. That's not the token address, is it? The token address is this. My bad. Sorry, the influencer tweeted about the wrong thing. Let's do that one more time. Guys, let's buy to the moon. Tweet, restart, and this time, wait for it. The LLM is taking a long time. Trying to execute, got the transaction, send the transaction confirmed. I think it'll get confirmed. So if I open my wallet now, I have not just Solana and Frick, I also have the Vine coin. How much did I spend? I spent 0.01 Sol to get this much of the Vine coin. Now I can sell it. Ideally, this should call me as well, so I can decide when I want to sell it, or I should add logic to add stop loss, etc. over here. So yeah, don't use this in production yourself. If you're sleeping, you'll buy a bunch of tokens and then you'll keep sleeping, right? So you have to sell them as well after you get a profit. I think the biggest function, the most helpful function here is going to be this one, the swap function, because when that influencer tweets, maybe your Twitter polls are not happening, or they're happening after 30 seconds, but you get the notifications. Just copy the token address, paste it over here, and call the swap, send a bunch of transactions, and you're good to go. Okay? So that is how you would build a tweet tracker. Hopefully the demo was enough. Let me do one last demo here. Let's say there is an influencer who really likes this coin called, I don't know, let's select a random coin this time, whatever this is. So the influencer will tweet something like this. The influencer will tweet, to the moon, this thing. And hopefully you have your script running at that time, constantly running every 5 seconds, every 10 seconds. So your script will be able to scrape out the tweet. It will send it to an LLM, and this time the LLM thinks this isn't enough. So the tweet needs to be more of a bull tweet, I guess. Let's buy it, folks. It's going to the moon. I'll have to change the prompt to make it more effective. Seems like it doesn't understand it's a token address right now, but I guess this one's fine. All right, creates a transaction, sends the transaction, and waits for it. If I go back to my wallet now, you will see I have this. Right, sorry about that. The recording ended, but as you can see, I was able to swap for this weird ass token. So that's how you build a tweet tracker. The learnings from this video: number one, it was highly unreliable. Like the LLM responses, it expects a very specific response, right? Buy this token. It's not able to tell very well this is a bull post or not. So we have to figure out the LLM prompt. Maybe we need simple parsing, figure out if there's a DEX token URL there, if there is a DEX screener URL there, if there's a token address there, by splitting the string. So we don't necessarily have to send the thing to an LLM. We can do manual parsing and figure this out as well. That's one thing I would change here. Number two, the user may or may not give you the token address. Some of the tweets, in fact, most of the tweets, I would say, if you look at the Trump tweet, he did not give you the token address. Trump, it didn't look like this. The token address wasn't pasted in the tweet. The token address was actually part of the website. So when Trump tweets, we will have to figure out there's a URL here. We'll have to go to the URL and send that to the LLM. The URL, of course, has the contract address from which our process goes on. So other thing that's missing here is it's expecting the user to have the token address pasted in the tweet, which may or may not happen. That's two. And the third thing is we don't have a lot of retry logic, which would be nice. Our swap function that we've written right now, we can just hope that it works, but there's a very high probability if everyone's flocking, this will fail. So you should spam transactions. Don't spam transactions, but you get the idea. Try different RPCs. Maybe run this directly on your own RPC if you have one, and retry if transactions are failing, so on and so forth. That's another thing you need to change. And lastly, you should also sell the token. So there should be some logic here to sell the token after 5 minutes, let's say. Let's say the jump that you want to take. Okay, as soon as the influencer tweets, I want to buy and immediately sell after 5 minutes, and I'll take the profits. So that's another logic to add over here. Hopefully that was insightful. That's all I had for this one. I will see you guys in a different video. Let me know what you guys would like to see next. With that, we'll call it. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.